Okay, boy people, another video. Same day. I've done 2 tutorials on poi and a run through of the different supplies that I use. Now, this is going to be a video that I have not seen anyone else do yet, and I believe that it is for the best that it gets done. Most people will have someone who tells you this in person that they know, but some people don't. This is a fire safety video, and you might think that that's a little bit useless, common sense, you know, and it does take a lot of common sense, but at the same time there are precautions that legally you have to follow. There are regulations that you can find online. I will post the links in the bottom of this video again, so everyone knows them. Pamphlets that are nationwide, you know, universal throughout the country, United States, as well as probably in some other states, that are a really good idea to read through. Until then, here are the things that you need. Okay, so like I was saying before, I have my spin-out can and my fuel. You're going to need something you can use as a dip can for your poi, or heads of whatever sort, a fire blanket, all of your supplies like lighters and such, and your poi. Here is what needs to happen. First off, and I'm not going to actually pour fuel because I'm not going to waste it like that. The container that you're using as a dip container does not need to be metal, even though it's recommended that it is. Small paint cans work very well. You need it to be able to fit the poi comfortably all the way to the bottom. And you are going to take the fuel, pour it into here until it's just above the head of the poi, if you can see that in there. And then you're going to wait until the bubbling has stopped. All of the air needs to be out of the poi. It's not absolutely necessary, but it's recommended for a longer burn. Next, immediately after that, you get the dip or the spin-out can. Again, trick concepts, right? You're going to get the spin-out can as close to the dip can as you can. Set the poi all the way at the bottom. You can see that grate that's down there, which keeps it about 1.5 inches raised up off the bottom. And then you're going to do the same thing with the second poi. Put it in there, wait till the bubbles stop, put it in here. Next, and I'm going to have to actually pick everything up from this point on. You're not going to need anything else close up. So I'm going to put the camera in my normal spot over there. Okay, so say I've already fueled these up. I've got both of them sitting into the spin-out can. What you're going to do, lift the spin-out can so that the poi are resting comfortably on the bottom like that. Grab the poi so that you can hold on to them while they're resting on the grate in there. Spin it. You want to spin this about 3 or 4 times. You don't want to spin all of the fuel out of it, but about that much is good. Set it back down, okay? Lift it out. Then, you don't light it immediately. You do not ever light your poi or fire tools anywhere near the fueling or spin-out zone. Roughly 30 feet away is probably best. You're going to either have someone else light it for you or have a standing lamp or something, oil lamp, that you can light it from. Hold them out, light, and then start spinning. When you're spinning with fire, never do anything that you're not comfortable with. Meaning, the general consensus at least, is if you hit yourself while doing it, you are not ready to use it on fire. So, for example, if I'm trying to do these, I would not do them on fire yet because of how much I hit myself. There's no danger of you actually catching on fire. Your skin, your hair, your clothes will not actually burn, which is what allows for people to be able to do things like this. The most dangerous thing about spinning fire is the very high opportunity to have a fuel transfer. What is a fuel transfer? A fuel transfer is when you're spinning and you hit yourself and there's enough excess fuel, and this is why spinning out is very, very useful. The excess fuel that's on the poi splashes onto you. The poi heads are sponges, basically, made out of Kevlar. It's very easy to smack yourself and have fuel fly out all over your arm. That fuel will be lit on fire when it happens. I've burned myself once in the 8 months that I've been practicing. It's a small burn, but it's still not fun. In some cases, your safety, which I'm about to get into next, won't actually be there. So, anyway, the next part. You'll have a safety at all points. However, you cannot rely on the safety for everything. Small fires that you catch onto will most likely be able to be put out on your own. When I caught my arm on fire, my safety couldn't have gotten to me in time. It was burning very fast, so I just patted it against my arm, or my leg, after dropping the poi. Overall, though, there's a very general consensus about how you should do things. There should always be a fire extinguisher on hand. If you don't have one, that's not a problem. There are other ways to do it. Trick Concepts fire blanket is what I use more often than not. There are much better ways to protect yourself, but this is a very good one. The person who is your safety will hold this out, or if you are being a safety, you will hold this out. The side that says Trick Concepts on it here will be the side that you face towards the fire. You hold the blanket out, and when you're trying to put someone out, you hold it against them. So, say my arm's on fire. They would take this, lay it over like that, and hold it there. You know, trying to smother the fire. You don't try to pat it out, you know, like this, because that'll just be feeding it oxygen. You hold it and try to smother it. These blankets are thick enough that you can actually hold the fire or hold them over the fire and press down with your hands and you won't get burned. It'll be warm, but you won't burn yourself. So, fire blanket. If somebody is done spinning mid-burn, so their poi are still on fire and they want to stop, what the person will do, the safety, will lay this down flat on the ground. So, lay it down like that. Then, the person who is spinning will lay the poi, obviously not touching the heads like that, lay the poi flat like this. Then the safety will fold this over, flat, and smother it down like that, holding onto the poi. Fire goes out pretty quickly. Poi are ready to be cooled down. Okay, so the next thing, and this is probably the last thing to go over. You can read laws and such at the bottom of the page. There is a sort of form that you have to follow. If you catch on fire, say your jeans catch on fire, if it's direct contact to your skin, you'll know and you'll have to be the one to put it out. Your jeans are on fire, and you don't notice it. Your safety will notice it, and your safety will call out. For example, if it's my right leg, they will say, right leg. When you do that, you need to stand in a T, right? And they will come over and smother the fire. The most dangerous way to catch on fire is what's called cupping. With poi, there are a lot of wrap techniques, tangle tricks, things that throw them around your hands like this. What cupping is when you do something like that, except you can't get out of it. It like wraps around itself and ties itself in a knot or whatnot. I don't know how it can happen while you're spinning, but it can. I've seen it. In a situation like this, you immediately are going to drop to your knees and put your hands above your head so that the flame doesn't come up at your face. Once you're here in this position, your safety will take the poi from underneath. So they will go down from here, grabbing the poi with the fire blanket, wrap it, and lift up above your hands so your hands don't get very injured. If that happens, injury and possible trips to the emergency room will happen. I almost guarantee it. You will probably be suffering second or third degree burns in that case. Try not to do it. Always be very careful when you're spinning. Don't try anything too terribly reckless. I know I'm not the token example of that because I tend to learn something and then try it on fire almost immediately. But use the safety precautions. You don't want to light yourself on fire. It's inevitable that you're going to, but you can follow these things to make it really, really stick. The very last thing that I want to say is that there are always supposed to be sections when you're spinning. Places that you designated for certain things. A designated spin-out place, a designated fueling space, and a designated fire space, a spinning space. It's okay if the spin-out place and the fueling place are near each other, but I highly recommend, if you're going to do something like that, using a spin-out can. The fire place, like I said, when you're spinning fire and everything's on fire, you should have people at least 10 feet away from you. At the very least, I recommend 20. And you should have fire at least 30 feet, no less, away from the fueling zones and the spin-out zones. You don't want the excess fuel that's laying around to catch on fire. You don't want your can of fuel to catch on fire. Hopefully that's useful. I'm going to end it here because there's plenty more that I could go into, but honestly that's too long of a video. Alright, I'll talk to you guys soon.